All right. Welcome back. This is What the Papers Are Saying. My guest tonight, Musa Dankwa, poster and executive director for the Global Info Analytics, and of course, Samuel Atamensa, ChannelOne TV, City FM. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We start off with the controversy in the downstream petroleum sector, where we are witnessing what has now become known as the floor price controversy, mainly between Star Oil and GOIL. A price war of a kind, and MPA is in the middle of it all, the regulator. I started with you, Samens. You have been a student of competitive strategy, taught it many times or many years. This should actually be coming to you as an interesting, scenario, interesting event, case study, of course. What's your thinking around this whole floor price controversy, strategy, etc.?
Well, I think, again, I like the way you introduced it as a banter between GOIL and Star Oil. I'm not so sure whether it's necessarily between Star Oil and GOIL. Technically, it's between Star Oil and NPA. Okay, but seeing that GOIL is structured as a state agency, structured to benefit from that that threshold ceiling, they will also react. But both of them are telling us their realities. Star Oil is telling us their realities, and GOIL is also telling us their realities. People actually forget that this threshold, which we call the price floor, was only fixed in 2024, 2 years ago. And 2 years is actually not enough time for us to evaluate the real essence of this new policy. Okay, but people will react because they have their own realities, as I said. Now, we all see it as oil marketing business, but the real deal is that it's a finance business. He who wields financial power controls the market. And it's not money from their pocket. The credit facilities available to them is what determines who plays the bigger game. And so that's Star Oil having racked up the miles to the top tier and now leading the pack, now says that, look, where I find myself, I can give better pricing to the consumer. And that is real. I don't know why people will cry for him. If he has to lose, he is the one who will be complaining. Okay, he says that, yes, if we remove the price floor, I can go down further because he knows where he secures his funding from.
But I mean, looking at it holistically, MPA sets the
price floor,
the price floor, the minimum ex-pump price, which nobody should go below. MPA says that or the essence of it really is to ensure that the smaller ones do not suffer so much. The smaller ones.
No, I'm not so sure about the essence. The objective of it. Nobody has scientifically proven the essence. 2 years, I maintain, is not enough time for us to prove the essence. We have an objective, well so, but we have not proved that it has a varied benefit to the industry at large. You understand? I can understand that it's petrol pricing and it's so interlinked with the economy and the way people feel about the economy.
If the MP doesn't step in with this price floor business or regulation, won't bigger OMCs with bigger financial muscle price out the smaller ones?
That's what can happen. But what's free market? What's free market?
But free market must have some regulation.
No, free market must be moderated. It doesn't mean that you should control it. And I'm saying that the attempt to determine the price floor, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that we have not proven that it's beneficial to everybody. So we should allow ourselves for the discourse to go on. It's not a fight. It's a discourse, at the end of which period we can come back, the same stakeholder engagement that was held between 2023 and 2024, which finally determined that we should have a price floor, we can go back to the stakeholder engagement and say that, look, we've had this thing for 2 years. Let's see. I mean, we shouldn't take entrenched positions like that because, look, Ghana, we have this binary way of thinking. It's either this or that. It doesn't have to be. Let's learn from other markets. How did they do it? So you will notice that in Kenya, in Zambia, in some of that, even in South Africa, there is a price determination. You can go below. In the US, you can do whatever. You can even kill yourself. They don't care. Because they have institutions that hold the system together. We haven't built our institutions to that point. All I'm saying is that it's not a black or white situation. We should call the stakeholders back and come for conversation and see what we can do, and not allow this is Star Oil versus gold. It's not Star Oil versus gold. It is a fundamental issue. People are happy that petrol prices, diesel prices are going down. And it gives a better signal about the direction of the economy. So if one man makes a post and says that, look, if you remove the price floor, we can even do better. It's food for thought. Nobody should fight him. People should say, oh, okay, let's go. And you see, people forget that beneath that price floor are certain elements that need to be queried again. About taxes, about imposition of levies, regulatory levies, and all these things. So let's not be too protective. Let's listen. And it should just be a signal for us to go back and think through the entire process again. Let me end here so Musa can also.
Musa, I mean, this is not a poll yet, but I mean, consumers generally are happy.
Yes.
And consumers don't see why MPA will be standing in their way. I mean, an OMC says I can go lower than I'm doing if you allow me. MPA says there's a price floor. You can't go beneath that. Where do you stand on this? I mean, MPA's argument, or the argument for the price floor, really is that it ensures market stability, trying to be protective of the smaller OMCs, etc. Where do you stand on this?
Yeah, I think there is too much emphasis on the protection of the smaller OMCs, in the sense that they believe that if there's no price floor, then the big guys would kind of muscle out the smaller companies, make them unprofitable by undercutting them and then driving them out of the business. Look, people want cheaper fuel. That's the bottom line. Now, if there are fewer smaller ones and a lot more big ones, and the prices are still lower, people don't care. And it's market that is efficient. If you are efficient, then you can say, okay, I have a much lower finance cost. I can pass on this financing cost to my people down there. I have a lower cost structure in terms of overheads. I believe I've been efficient in the sense that, look, I don't have huge costs hanging on my neck, so I can kind of bring the cost down and still make profit. And in some cases, the structure of the ownership of the OMC plays a role when it comes to the exchange rate. Some of them have no shield against the exchange rate. For example, if you're a local company, you don't translate your account into foreign currency. And for that matter, you don't care what the dollar is to your shareholders. But some of them, they need to repatriate their dividends back there. So, and the CD rate affects them. So they tend to have cover. Look, we've been through a lot as consumers. And if this is the time for us to enjoy a bit of lower pricing, I think they should allow that. I mean, you may review the floor and bring it a step lower again if they can go down there and still maintain that protection, but and see what the market will react.
It's an interesting sector, right? We talking about this. An example is the telco sector or the telecom sector. We saw, one rise so much to the top. Now we are talking about SMP, etc., and trying to now find a way of controlling that. Is that not what the MPA perhaps is working, against, so that we don't have a situation where one with a lot of financial muscle will rise to the very top, others now competing will drop, and they keep going,
I don't disagree with the overall objective. What I'm saying is that maybe the floor is too high. maybe the floor can still be lowered a bit.
The floor should be lowered.
Yeah, it can still be lowered and see how the market reacts. And if it doesn't work, you still have the power to come back and adjust it. So allow it to go where it has to go so that people can be efficient. Otherwise, people will keep inefficient costs in the system, knowing that they can recover it through the price protection. And there's no incentive for them to really be efficient. So if somebody's being efficient, let's allow that efficiency to be passed on to consumers. And I think that is a fair thing to ask.
I mean, so Star Oil quite critical in this. They have begun, you know, I mean, they withdrew from the COMAC platform, etc. You know, what do you think they've been doing right in the last few years to keep them rising? Now they are number one. You know, last December we understand they sold over 80 million liters of petrol just for December, and they hope to do more. What's the trick?
Well, not that I'm not an industry expert, so it's difficult to say. But from the utterance or the publication of the head of Star Oil, I get the sense that they are very price efficient. And they've been using pricing as a tool to advance their space within the industry. That's one. The other thing that I get is that they have access to credit, better access to credit, which means that they have scaled up over the years. I mean, these guys can reach up to between 80 and 90 million dollar credit within a space of 3 months. Okay, and mind you, if you look at the space, I think the top four, if you take Goil, Star Oil, Total, and Shell, among them, they command about 70%
Of the market.
of the market.
That's still big.
About 70%. And this is a market of at least 200 players. So if you have 200 players and 4 occupy 70%, it sends a certain signal. Okay, that's why I'm saying that. And Musa made a point, which I had never averted my mind to, that suddenly we woke up one day to find out that an indigenous company is leading the pack, which is not pressured by foreign exchange repatriation. That by itself is a high cost if you have to repatriate foreign exchange. So if they don't have that kind of pressure, it means that they have a certain advantage. Now, can we also say that in determination, the processes that led to the determination of the price flooring would have considered mostly the financials of the foreign companies, because they were the big guys. You understand? Now it's a new reality. So all I'm saying is that let's call everybody back to table and have a good discussion. But you see, we shouldn't force it down people's throats, because it won't work. It will not work. What do we want? Do we prefer smuggling our fuel outside to this one? The man says, this is what I want. You may disagree, but it calls for discussion. That's all I'm saying. So they should call everybody, COMAC on one side, Star Oil, and all these guys involved, so that we bring the issues and discuss, so we determine the way forward. I don't think there should be a stalemate in this. It shouldn't be take it or leave it, you know. The consumer must benefit. The consumer must benefit.
Great. Musa, the consumer benefiting, I mean, Star Oil says that they think this restricts competition. Somebody's made a point about smuggling. And we know that if our prices are so low, you know, compared to our neighboring countries, people tend to smuggle fuel across. So is this not counterproductive then? It becomes so low, then now we end up having it smuggled across the border to other countries. Then we are back to square one.
You know, certainly smuggling is an issue. Maybe they are getting ahead of the smuggling game, and that will be helpful in trying to stop what might happen in the future. But one point that I think we need to mention is that, look, Star Oil has been gradually acquiring defunct, not profitable filling stations along the line. They were gradually building that by acquiring them. And I understand they even bought some of the stations that were previously owned by Goil and they put them. See, what that does is that if I buy Star Oil, I do not drive for a long distance to see another Star Oil to buy. Once they are around the vicinity, I go there and buy them. That gives them the volume. And when you have the volume with a small margin, you make huge amount of money. Others were relying on big margins and thin volumes to make money. Now the game has changed. Star Oil certainly is using its muscle by the volume itself, and they think that in fact, if they can even go down lower, they can set higher volume and make more money. So look, it's about competition. And yes, every competition has its own downside, but there are things that you can do to regulate, or not regulate, but really keep the sector sanitized. I don't think we consumers should be deprived of enjoying lower petroleum prices, whatever reason.
There are two CSOs in that space mainly. COPEC, which tends to speak for consumers, and IES, which does general things. IES supports the price floor, whilst COPEC thinks that the price floor is not necessarily the time for consumers to enjoy. But of course, we leave it to the players to decide. We'll be watching keenly and be bringing you updates on how that particular, should I call it competition or discussion, as someone wants to put it, goes. Let's move to the next matter. The MPP primary, the MPP aspirants for their January 31 contest signed a peace pact today, and they have all pledged to remain united as the essence of the peace pact. Nana Akufo-Addo, former president of Ghana, spoke in his usual fashion, quite passionately about it. Minority leader of the party in parliament, also spoke passionately about it. I start off with you, Musa. You have been polling. How significant is something like the peace pact? Is it an important part of it at all?
Honestly, I was surprised that for internal contest, that shouldn't be war. Why should you have to say it's peace pact? It tells you, even though we claim we have progressed democratically, I mean, on certain aspect of this system that we practice democracy, it is symbolic. Oh, look, you are one family. You are going for a contest of ideas, contest that you want to pick somebody who can win for you. There shouldn't be any violence. But I think it is important that this is done because of history.
Yes.
What happened last time,
yeah.
I mean, which probably was needless. So we shouldn't be in a situation where internal contest, you have to sign a peace pact. I mean, then general election, what do we say?
No, but I mean, if there's a need to sign something, why not? I mean, MPP suffered in recent times from internal contests.
What I'm saying is
2007, where Alan Tremantin felt a few things were not right. He left. People think that accounted for Nanado's loss in 2008. In 2024, he left in 2023 to form the Movement for Change. People think that also had some effect on the party. So if they are this again with people like Ken Ejepong, Brian Champon, etc., who speak openly and then forthrightly and speak their mind, it's important to rein them in with a tool like the Peace Pact. It is what they think will help them.
Is the Peace Pact just meant for the top campaign of the entire rank and file of this party?
But the rank and file will take inspiration from their leaders. So if their leaders are seen to be together, I mean, they will have to.
Well, for me, I mean, it has become necessary because of where we find ourselves in. I mean, the situation we find ourselves in. But I don't think, I mean, where we are as a country, we've done this thing for how many years? We should be doing this peace pact when we should be able to judge or disagree and have not burn the bridges and come back and fight as one party against the opposition. I think we should be able to grow up and behave maturely. I mean, this is needless in a very maturing democracy.
Sometimes, I mean, peace pact, a necessary part of the whole thing. Was it necessary to sign this at all? I mean, would this prevent anybody from disagreeing with the process if indeed they find something not right?
Well, the peace pact does not prevent anybody from blowing the whistle. I mean, they didn't say that it prevents anybody from blowing the whistle if something goes wrong. I think the symptoms of the whole process was taking a disturbing dimension. And so a party that has elders would sit and say, look, why don't we call everybody together so that we can smoothen the pathway for all of us. I think in essence, they are doing something just for the records, okay? Now, as the people sat down, I mean, I watched the entire thing on TV. If peace is the absence of war, then it didn't look like peace. Because there are some people, if you look at their face, you think they are ready for battle. To the extent that I saw Brian Champon try to talk to another person, the person has squeezed his face like Kemia Dokno, like that. He won't even smile. So they can do it for the records and hope that it holds. If it holds, even better for the country. But it's just the beginning of many things to come, because we've seen the political parties go through this phase, okay? But I must say that for me, as somebody who's done repeated cycles of elections since 1996, I've covered every election since 1996, I haven't seen this kind of randomized insults and toxic expressions within the party in the manner that we are seeing. I have never seen that before. And so every elder within the MPP should be concerned. And it's not just the theory of sitting down before the cameras and signing. Now somebody has to supervise the entire process, monitor. What I did not hear, maybe I missed it, is what happens to those who defy what they have agreed on. What will happen to you? I didn't hear anything. If they said it, then I didn't hear. Because if you don't tell me what will happen to me,
the sanctions will be.
The sanctions will be, people tomorrow, they'll start going back to their old ways. And we know those who are notorious for that. Now, if the party cannot call them out, then there's weakness in the leadership. I can't just come and do on this day a peace pact, announce to the whole world that we want you to have a smooth process which will lead to the election of one person. Now, those who defy our instruction, that is what will happen to them. I didn't hear that. So please forgive me if I missed it. Musa, you are the poster. Maybe you heard it.
But I mean, it will be difficult to, unless of course you just want them to say it for the records. But given where the party is, you think the party should be able to say, if you flout this, we will dismiss you from the party?
I'm not saying they should. I'm saying that without that, then people can go ahead and do what they are used to doing. That's all I'm saying.
Or maybe another way of looking at it is, we've agreed to do this. So if you are seen doing otherwise, then you are pointing fingers at yourself. So that will have its own repercussions. Well, people, you may come back to us tomorrow, and we would have known you.
If there are no consequences, let's not expect a departure from what we think is wrong.
The consequence maybe will be the picture you would have painted of yourself after signing this.
But they have painted the pictures already, don't you see? The people have painted the pictures. We are seeing the pictures. You understand? And if MPP needs anything at this time, they need a leader with copious amounts of emotional intelligence. After the likes of President Kufuor, after the likes of President Mills, after the likes of President Mahama. You understand? So they should be very concerned about who comes out of this election. Otherwise, they will become a laughing stock.
I see. This is what the papers are saying. I will take a short break. When I come back, we'll hear from Musa and what the polls have been saying. Don't go away.